me clean of tundra debris. Later, he would bury the bundles in rocks to keep them cool and prevent animals from getting to them. He carefully examined the meat and the organs as he worked, using all of his senses to look for signs of disease that would make the animal unfit for eating. One animal showed signs of having been attacked by a bear recently, and a couple of the wounds were not healing right. He could see the sickness spreading from the wound into other parts of the animal. He set that one to the side, making sure it did not touch the others. It would be fed to the dogs, so it would not go to waste. The meat would not hurt the dogs, as their stomachs were much more robust. The layer of fat on the largest bull's back was a finger-length deep, showing how healthy and well-fed the animals were. Binna could measure the season and age of the animal by the width of the fat and where it accumulated on the body. He could see how time manipulated the bodies of the caribou, like the length of daylight. Every animal was bound by these changes in their bodies as the moons turned and seasons passed. That night, the boy lay down on his mat under the cooling light of a stubborn sun. Thoughts, like panicked ground squirrels, scurried through his mind. He ran his fingers lightly along his bow, watching how the smooth wood gleamed in the light, pearlescent with years of use. It had belonged to his two brothers. Each one had carried it before him. His oldest brother, Attao, had crafted it by hand. The boy had heard stories of how it had taken years to find the perfect piece of wood, with the right height, heft, and suppleness. His brother had chosen well. The sinew had to be changed often, but the wood itself never discolored or cracked. When Attao had disappeared long ago into the mountains, all that his parents found was his bow. The middle brother, Malheureux, had then used it and carved images into its length. The carefully designed etchings depicted a love of the mountains, a reverence for hunting, and land animals in various poses. Behind each animal were carvings of the place and time of year the animals could be found. The entire bow was a map of sorts, teaching the boy all he needed to grow skilled in the taking of animals. Many of the etchings were almost worn away, but the boy knew its lessons by heart. Malheureux had also disappeared into the mountains, leaving behind only the bow and no clue to his fate. The boy grimaced. He knew that his mother, seeing all the caribou, would be ecstatic at first, but he knew also that grief would wrap itself around her joy like fall-time darkness. Any excitement she felt would be forgotten as she began to tell stories about his missing brothers. She would talk about Attao's speed when quartering the caribou, his cuts clean and never hesitant, their skinned hides flawless and smooth, without any holes or thin areas. She would talk about Malheureux's strength, how he could carry a full-grown bull caribou for at least a mile, and how he would work tirelessly for days without complaint. She would go on about the amazing hunters they had been and how proud she was of their prowess. The boy would sit there and nod, as he always did, letting her list all the wonderful attributes his brothers had had. And at the end of her speech, she would look at him, fear clouding her soot-colored eyes, wondering if he too would one day disappear. He loved his mother greatly and hoped one day he would only see his own reflection in her eyes and not the shining memories of his brothers. His father would say very little, of course. He would just pat the boy briefly on his back, a wide smile on his dark face, and whisper, "Good job, son." At times, the boy thought his father took his brother's disappearance the hardest. His silence became something you could almost see, a depth and heaviness in the air. He often sat alone, eyes scanning the distant horizon toward the mountains, one calloused and rough thumb gently following the surface of a carved ivory goose that Mother had made. There was nothing more fiercely protective than a goose defending its offspring. He'd kept the carving tucked into the inner lining of his parka ever since his 2 older children.